Archie Andrews is in love with two best friends, Betty Cooper and Veronica Lodge, at the same time. As the friends fight for a cause, Archie needs to be careful about not hurting the girls' feelings. Archie lives in Riverdale, a small town in the hills of North India. The British still occupied India in 1914. Around that time, an officer, Sir John Riverdale, fell in love with a local woman, Sitara. He got married and leased the land from the king. He built Riverdale for Anglo-Indians like his family. When India got independence in 1947, some Anglo-Indians left for London. Those who remained fell in love with the heart of the town, Green Park. Archie works for his father's tour company and brings the tourists to Green Park. Even in 1964, the tradition of every child planting a tree there continues. Archie brings them a pergola, which used to be a bandstand so people could dance and sing. Archie's band, the Archies, still continues that tradition. He is sure they will make a huge impact soon. The Archies practice right next to Betty's house. Veronica is back in town and asks Smithers about the preparations for her party. Dawson thinks Veronica's parents, Hermione and Hiram Lodge, have come back at the right time. The town council has approved their proposal of building a plaza in the square, but the shops are private properties, so they need to convince people to sell. Apart from the plaza, they want to build a hotel in town too. The council has approved that, but they're undecided on the location. Hermione wants the hotel to be in the middle of all the hustle and bustle. Hiram knows Green Park is a controversial choice, so he wants to keep his name away from the process. Once they get the permissions, a few companies can be made to submit offers. Hiram knows Dawson will then choose Lodge Industries. This approval requires 5 votes, and Dawson can't have the influence till he's the district corporator. Hiram is impressed Dawson is aware of the politics, and decides to back him financially. Jughead works at Pop Tate's and starts eating the burger he got for Ethel. Pop asks him to keep it down, but Ethel doesn't mind sharing. Betty and Veronica are best friends and jump in excitement to see each other after so long. Veronica is just back from London and keeps spoiling Betty with gifts. She wants to look the best for her party and asks Betty to choose her outfits. She casually asks about Archie but pretends she doesn't care. Betty knows they have a history and they joke about how Archie dates everyone. Reggie Mantle is always impressed with Veronica's parties. He bullies Dilton Doily into getting a drink for him. When Veronica makes an entrance, all eyes are on her. She thinks Archie looks great, but Reggie tries to get her attention. She gifts Archie a new record, which he loves. But Reggie takes her to the floor, and they all start dancing together. Betty is jealous when she notices Archie trying to get Veronica's attention. Veronica makes sure to flirt with him and Reggie. After the party, Archie makes an excuse about forgetting his record. He asks Betty and Reggie to go ahead without him. Veronica knows he's still using his old tricks to spend more time with her. She wants to have dinner with him at an expensive restaurant. Hiram doesn't like Archie loitering around there and asks him to leave. Betty is in love with Archie, but she can tell he still has feelings for Veronica. The town council has sanctioned redevelopment, and Fred is sure Hiram is behind this. He doesn't want Riverdale to lose its small-town charm and become commercialized. Archie still thinks development is important and likes that things are more modern. Archie's mother, Mary, learns that he applied to a university in London. His uncle Ben, Fred's brother, suggested that he should study there if he plans to live in London. Archie thinks there are limited options for him in Riverdale. He's glad he can easily study in London because his grandfather was British. He wants his music to reach more people. But Fred points out that he needs to look within himself for creating art. At the Riverdale High School assembly, Reggie is very popular for his jokes. Dawson's associates wonder how a hotel will be built in Green Park. Dawson asks them to not get emotional and promises high posts to them if he gets elected. Mike Gomes is his current secretary, whose loyalty always lies with Riverdale. Dawson is worried Gomes will report their plan to the Gazette, the biggest newspaper in Riverdale. Reggie's father, Ricky Mantle, is the editor of the Gazette. The newspaper was started by Reggie's grandfather when the Brits ruled India. It wasn't easy to be a rebel then, and his grandfather still printed messages for their freedom movement. Ricky thinks they have the same social responsibility now while printing the paper. He asks Reggie to only come to him when he has something meaningful to write about. Hal Cooper is reading stories to the kids in his bookstore when Johnny comes to meet him. As the owner, Johnny has an offer that would need Hal to pay double the rent. Hal thinks that's impossible, but asks for time to speak to his wife, Alice. Betty is worried about the store, but Hal assures her they will find a way. As Archie prepares for his date with Veronica, Fred is calculating the expenses of sending him to London. He wants to fund Archie's education without help from Ben. Veronica teases him about going to London just when she got back. The concierge doesn't allow Archie in because of his shoes. Veronica calls her father's assistant, Katie, to get in touch with him. When Hiram speaks to him, they're easily allowed inside. Betty's friends surprise her for her birthday at night. She asks about Veronica and Archie, but Moose doesn't know where they are. Veronica wants to catch up with Archie from the time they left off 2 years ago. They both still have feelings for each other, but don't want to admit it. Archie wants to know what's next for them. Veronica doesn't want to go back to what they were, and thinks they need new beginnings. Archie knocks on Betty's window because he's hungry. She knows he had dinner with Veronica, but he reminds her their portion size is too small. She agrees to cook scrambled eggs for him. Archie claims he's not back with Veronica, which gives her some hope. She asks him to take the food to her room while she cleans up. When he notices the gifts, he feels bad about forgetting her birthday. He wants to take her on a date to Greek Park the next day. Veronica gifts Betty a locket to ask for her forgiveness. She forgot her birthday too, and Ethel thinks she was bribing Betty. But Betty knows Veronica is a nice person, even if she's a little spoilt. She's excited about Archie taking her out that day. He takes every girl out, but Betty thinks he can change. She just feels bad she couldn't summon the courage to tell Veronica about their date. Times are tough, but the owner of the salon, Pam, refuses to sell her shop. She's not afraid of the new salon, because she has a talented hairdresser like Ethel. For the plaza in the town square, Dawson asks the council to send offers to the local shops. He wants to vote for the location of the hotel in the next session. He floats the idea of building the hotel in Greek Park. He pretends it'll be a great opportunity for the town. Mrs. Otter is strictly against the idea, and so is Mrs. Mesquita. It's their community park, and Otter can't allow anyone to build something there. Katie shows Hiram the files of Otter and Mesquita, who is her psychic. When Hiram learns she's a widow and her son is not earning, he gets an idea. Archie gifts Betty a bike he bought from his savings. He compliments her, and they start riding in the park. Archie knows he'll miss Green Park a lot when he goes to London. Betty doesn't want this moment to end, but Archie thinks time will heal everything. She thanks him for the best birthday and kisses him. He's surprised, but he kisses her back. Jughead doesn't understand why Archie kissed Betty when he went out with Veronica the other day. Jughead knows Betty and Veronica might discuss him sooner or later because they're best friends. He doesn't think Archie can two-time them, but Archie is sure he loves both of them. Jughead can tell this won't end well, and imagines the girls giving Archie a hard time. He asks Archie to back off and focus on some other girl. Archie starts cheering for Cheryl after the performance. Veronica and Betty seem surprised to see him flirting with her. Ethel is drawn towards the new salon, Cuts and Curls, and the owner asks her to have a look. Ethel is Riverdale's upcoming hairdresser, and the owner knows it. She offers her double the salary Pam gives her. Dilton thinks Reggie looks great, but no one agrees with him. Veronica and Betty ignore Archie when he tries to talk to them. Veronica asks Reggie to go to the founder's ball with her. Archie feels offended, but Jughead thinks this is good. When Cheryl comes over to flirt with Archie, he agrees to go to the ball with her. Ethel calls him a philanderer, but he claims he can do anything since he's single. Veronica forces Dilton to be Betty's date. She lures him by claiming Reggie will be there too. Dilton is working on building something, but they're not sure what it is. Uncle Benny thinks his shop will be closed soon. The city council seems to be planning something, and even his license hasn't been renewed. They notice some men examining the park, who were at Pop's Cafe too. Ricky thinks Reggie's source is unreliable, and it's impossible for redevelopment to happen in Green Park. Reggie is still sure they're planning something. He asks Reggie to not chase conspiracy theories like this. Otter's late husband, Kevin, never mentioned Hiram, but he claims they were close friends. He passed away because of cancer, and Hiram wants to make sure his son is well settled. Otter's son, Laurie, has failed twice. But Hiram asks her not to worry because he has heard rumors about the proposed hotel in Green Park. He suggests that he will invest in the hotel if the permissions go through. He also offers to give Laurie a managerial position there. Michael is singing a boring song for the crowd, and Veronica wonders why they invited him. Some guys make fun of Dilton's clothes, but Reggie stands up for him. Cheryl asks Archie for a dance, but he's not interested. He follows Betty and wants her to know this could be his last founder's ball. He wants them to enjoy it together. He claims he wrote a song for her and asks her to dance along when he performs it. Cheryl has heard about Archie chasing Betty and claims she got him there to make Darryl jealous. Archie tries to flirt with Veronica too, but she plays hard to get. He flatters her and wants her to know he wrote the song for her. Archie interrupts Michael and gets the stage cleared. He dedicates the song to a special girl in his life. Jughead notices Betty and Veronica getting excited about it and knows Archie must have said something. Archie's song is a hit with the crowd, and he dances with both the girls to erase any suspicion. Hal has made the calculations and knows it's impossible for him to pay double rent. Johnny feels bad the others are also being made to vacate their shops. They now know that Hiram is building a plaza there and is thinking of buying all shops and bulldozing them. Betty asks Johnny to not sell, but Hal still has to vacate the shop by the end of the week. Betty feels numb as the source of her father's income shuts down. Even Ethel doesn't have time as she works at her busy new salon. Archie gets a letter from England and runs home in excitement. Pop knows his cafe might shut down too, but Jughead clarifies his loyalty to him. Ethel thinks it's a snub at her joining the new salon and claims there's nothing wrong with wanting more money. Everyone congratulates Archie for getting into the college of his dreams in London. But Betty is still upset and blames Hiram for closing down her dad's shop. She thinks her dad will lose his job because of her father. Veronica knows it's not personal and that her dad is doing business. But Betty thinks she and her family don't understand the value of feelings. For Hal, the shop was a way to develop the personalities of children. She even taunts Veronica for not being able to talk to her own dad without his secretary. Jughead thinks Betty's anger is justified because there's more to life than profit. Archie wants them to relax, but Jughead knows he wouldn't be leaving Riverdale if he thought things were great there. Veronica tries to meet Hiram, but he's busy with meetings. She rants to Hermione about Hal's shop getting evicted because of Hiram. Hermione assures her she'll make sure Hal gets another job. Voting for building the hotel at Green Park begins. Dawson's men easily give their votes. Gomes is against the idea, and he's sure Otter is too. But Otter votes for the hotel to be built, and convinces Misquita to say yes too. With 5 votes, Dawson finally has the permission to build a hotel in Green Park. He asks Gomes to inform the Gazette that they're accepting offers. Betty's parents are celebrating when she gets back from school. Hal has a new job as an assistant manager at the new bookstore. He got a salary hike too, and it's all because Hiram recommended him personally. Betty feels bad and brings cake for Veronica as an apology. She thanks Veronica for helping her dad even after she was so mean to her. At the end of the school assembly, the students learn that Pop-Tates won't run their cafeteria any longer. They'll get pre-packed lunchboxes from Chaplin and Company. Jughead is most affected by this news. He doesn't think anyone can match the personal touch Pop puts into their orders. Miss Grundy feels Pop-Tate's closure is good for the profits of their school. Like the board's decision to change their vendor, she wants to discuss this topic in class. Reggie also mentions his dad's article about the redevelopment happening in the interest of a few large corporations. She asks for Archie's thoughts on the issue. He claims he doesn't think about politics and doesn't see a relation of it to his life. All his classmates gather to let Archie know politics is involved in even the smallest decisions of everyone's lives. At the new bookstore, Hal uses his experience to recommend a book to students. He wants to hold a story session like he did at his bookstore in Town Square. But it used to be free of cost, and the manager only wants them to focus on customers who will buy. They have monthly targets and can't invest in initiatives that don't result in profits. Mary gets her hair done from Ethel before her party. She has forgotten her wallet, so Ethel asks her to give it later. The owner asks Ethel to not interfere in her interactions with the clients. There's a strict store policy of not giving credit, and she asks Ethel to somehow get the money from Mary. Ethel knows no amount of money can make her treat people badly. She quits and walks over to Pam's salon to beg for her old job back. Everyone is gathered to celebrate Fred and Mary's 20th wedding anniversary. Betty wants to plan a farewell for Archie, and Veronica suggests the lake house. Michael starts singing with Alice and everyone joins in. Archie watches Betty and Veronica, and is sure he's in love with both of them. He thinks it's tough to choose just one person when he has so much love to give. He joins them, but Hal gets angry about Michael flirting with his wife. Ricky now knows for sure that Green Park is being converted into a hotel. The Gazette has been asked to put out a call for offers, and he admits Reggie was right. Fred doesn't care about the profits, even if he runs a tour company. They know some big people are behind this move. Ricky has tried speaking to the council, but most of them are in favor of it. Fred remembers that they were all in Green Park at the time of independence. All the kids took their first steps in Green Park, and they can't put a price on that. Reggie wants to interview the council head, and Archie offers to go with him. Dawson makes a case for how the best places have hotels in the heart of the town. He doesn't care about the park when there's so much greenery around. Archie is worried because Green Park is a part of their history, but Dawson assures them they won't rip out all of it. They plan to save a part of it for private gardens, but the trees that the community has planted will still be cut. Gomes knows there's one way in which the council's decision can be reversed. They need a petition signed by more than 50% of Riverdale's population. Around 45,000 signatures will do, but they only have 45 days from the time the Canil passed this decision to get it signed. All the kids are 17 years old, and only adults above 18 are allowed to sign it. Betty thinks they can't let this park go, because they'll come after something they love again. Reggie plans to write an article informing the whole town about the petition. The Gazette is delivered to every home, and Dilton suggests they can write instructions under the article. Ben asks Archie if he's ready for London. He thinks there's nothing left for Archie in Riverdale, and he should focus on his new life. Ricky loves Reggie's article, and asks Denny to get it printed. He's proud of Reggie, but Dennis seems concerned as he reads it. For Archie's farewell weekend, all the friends leave for Veronica's dad's lake house. Dennis comes to Hiram's office to inform him about the article. When everyone is swimming, they tease Reggie for being scared of the water. During a game of truth or dare, the boys dare Jughead to give them a beat or kiss one of the girls. He's very scared of them, so he starts beatboxing with his mouth. It's Dilton's turn, and they dare him to give his camera to one of the girls. He also has the choice of revealing a secret no one knows. Veronica stops him from giving the camera, because she knows it means a lot to him. But he's scared of sharing a secret, and starts crying. Reggie thinks Dilton is the bravest guy he knows. He also knows that Dilton has feelings for him. Reggie doesn't reciprocate, but he promises to keep Dilton's secret and be the best friend to him he can be. Hiram enters the Gazette office and asks for Ricky. Archie finds Veronica alone in the morning, and they flirt with each other. Betty watches them kiss and feels lost. Archie doesn't understand why Betty is being rude to him. Veronica knows he must have done something to upset her. Archie looks for the article in the paper and can't find it anywhere. Reggie confronts Ricky about it, but he claims the town council didn't want any dispute. Ricky knows Hiram is behind the hotel. He's also the Gazette's main source of advertising revenue. If Ricky goes against Hiram and prints the article, their publication will have to shut down without the money. Reggie reminds Ricky this is not the kind of free press his grandfather fought for. Archie tries to talk to Betty, but she ignores him again. Reggie is mad at Veronica. He thinks she must have told her dad about his article. Veronica claims she had no idea, but even Archie doesn't believe her. She walks off from school and enters her father's office to confront him. Hiram thinks the hotel will help people, but Veronica knows it'll only help Hiram get richer. She cares about Green Park, but Hiram reminds her she lives a life of luxury because of his money. He asks her to grow up, because she will inherit all this at some point. She thinks he has made it personal because all her friends hate her. Betty finally agrees to meet Archie. He knows she must be upset because of what happened with Veronica. Betty thinks he shares a special connection with Veronica, and she doesn't want to come in the middle of it. But now Archie thinks Veronica only cares about herself. Betty knows her better and is sure Veronica had no idea about Hiram's involvement. She reminds him that Green Park is equally important to Veronica. Fred has made all the arrangements for Archie's trip to London. He has never thought about leaving Riverdale. Archie's grandfather, Richard Andrews, loved everything about India. He felt every Englishman owes India, and he kept giving back to the society. He opened a school for kids and a village too. Fred still donates to that school, and was hoping Archie would continue after him. But he knows Archie wants to follow in Ben's footsteps. Archie goes for a walk across town, and sits next to the tree he planted in Green Park. He asks Pop for a chocolate milkshake, and he prepares it just the way Archie likes it. He doesn't want to go to London anymore. He can't leave Riverdale while there's still a chance to save Green Park. This is his home, and he wants to fight for it. Archie ropes in everyone at school to get the signatures from adults in their neighborhood. They go from door to door and convince a lot of people. They learn Dennis was the one who reported about the article to Hiram. Betty feels bad they accused Veronica for nothing, and they all go to see her. But Smithers claims she's out on a trip. Betty's parents refuse to sign the petition, because Hiram got Hal the job. It's Christmas soon, and Veronica is excited to celebrate with her parents. But they have left town for a governor's lunch in Missouri. Smithers offers to invite some of her friends over, but she doesn't want to. Betty is glad Veronica came to her, and invites her over. Her parents warmly welcome Veronica for Christmas. Veronica thinks Betty is lucky to have a family like this. Betty knows the boys feel bad for doubting her. But Veronica is glad Betty always believed in her. Betty confesses that she kissed Archie on the night of her birthday. She didn't know then that Veronica still has feelings for him. When she saw them at the lodge, she felt very guilty. Veronica thinks she should have told her sooner. She wouldn't have kissed Archie either if she knew Betty liked him. She always knew Betty had a crush on him, and wants her to know how special she is. But they're upset Archie played them. They know only Jughead can confirm this. Jughead claims to not understand what they're talking about. Betty chains him, and Smithers enters with a display of Jughead's favorite dishes. Veronica plans to torture him by eating it all in front of him. Jughead admits Archie is confused and loves both of them. He claims he warned Archie, but he still wrote the Founders Ball song for both of them. They confront Archie, who claims he never wanted to hurt anyone. Betty and Veronica don't want anyone to come between them. So they decide that all three of them should remain friends, and nothing more. Everyone is glad to have Veronica back the next day. They only have 1,200 signatures till now. Veronica knows from Hermione that the construction will begin at the park in 4 days. Archie thinks they can organize a fest in Green Park and invite all the adults, but they still don't have a way to reach everyone on time. Dilton shows them the radio he built, which is illegal. Jughead decides to test it, and he addresses the people of Riverdale. Everyone can hear them as he discusses how Green Park's future is in jeopardy. Archie calls everyone there for a fest if they care. They start printing out flyers and preparing for the day. They camp out in the park so Dawson can't bring the construction workers inside. Veronica already warned them they will come 1 day early. Dawson asks them to evacuate the premises, but they start chanting in favor of saving the park. Hermione thinks Veronica is just like Hiram, and doesn't listen to anyone. They know if the kids get enough signatures, Hiram will lose his land and Dawson will lose his donations. But Hiram isn't worried, and thinks the kids won't get enough signatures. He asks Hiram to let the kids have their day. The fest begins, and they start selling things in exchange for signatures. Veronica is selling her dresses, and Betty has baked many cakes. Reggie also offers the crowd a punchline in exchange for signatures. Ricky apologizes to him through a joke, and Reggie forgives him. They keep bringing these signatures to Gomes, who promises to count them carefully. Archie thanks everyone for coming as the counting begins in the council. He has written a song from his heart, and knows they can save the park. Dawson takes one set of signatures before they reach the office, and hides them. When the counting is over, Dawson is excited they didn't meet the target. Gomes feels suffocated and switches on the fan in the office. Petitions start falling from above, and he's surrounded by them. On New Year's Eve, everyone waits eagerly for the results. Gomes comes to Dilton's house to confiscate his radio, but he's allowed to make one last announcement. Everyone listens as Dilton announces that they managed to get more signatures than they asked for. Everyone celebrates because their class has made history. Hiram also feels proud that his daughter achieved something impossible.